Good afternoon, Patriot pals. Thank you for joining me. Have a good day and God bless you. Let's get into the news. I find it very hilarious every time, especially recently when President Trump called to suspend parts of the Constitution in order to fix 2020. Right. And the liberal media outrage and the fake conservatives and the conservatives with more roles and superior standards. Oh my gosh, I can't believe he said that. Meanwhile, Democrats actually actively work to dismantle the US Constitution, every chance they get, and they get applauded by the left and the mainstream media. And we hear crickets from the so-called conservative class that says, "Oh, that's horrible. I can't imagine they're going to do that." And then they don't do anything, of course, because they're all in on it, right? But here we have a perfect example of them, once again, looking to dismantle the US Constitution to fit their priority, fit their narrative, fit their agenda, and that's what they're looking to do. This time to eliminate the Electoral College as the means to efforts to do so, to make sure that New York and California will be the only states now like the US president. Because popular vote is all that matters in this. Of course, our founding fathers were geniuses when they created and crafted the US Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the US Declaration of Independence, right? And these people are our midwits compared to the founding fathers. They are just absolute clownery, and they think that they understand the US Constitution much better than our founding fathers did. So we had this representative, of course, this guy from the US, from the USA US House of Representatives, but of course the sham committee that was investigating January 6th, we got Ratface Raskin here. Called me up on CBS to tell the media to tell the American people the Electoral College needs to be abolished. Because it disenfranchises democracy. Democracy is all they care about, right? It's a danger to democracy. Absolutely a clown. So let's go and dive into what we have here. This is from says Democrat Representative Ratface Raskin says a big electoral college is a danger to democracy and to the American people. Dude, that dude looks like a rat. I'm not gonna lie. Representative Raskin on Sunday called for the Electoral College a danger to the American people during his appearance on CBS Face the Nation. Of course, he got no pushback. Face the Nation hosts Margaret Brennan asked Raskin about to January of this committee in the electoral count were format. And that just passed both chambers of Congress as part of the $1.7 trillion on Amos bill with a rob from you. By the way, Raskin called the Electoral College a danger to the American people. Instead, the Electoral Count Reform Act didn't go far enough. The Electoral Count at Reform Act makes it clear that the vice president role and counting the electoral votes is merely ceremonial. Well, just here, right here. This is what they said. They claimed that he could do vice president could not do during January 6th. Remember, they say he couldn't do it. So what did you have to put that in there? Because he could have done it, he could have sent the Electoral College votes back to the states. That was his role in it, to listen to the representatives say, "Yeah, I'm challenging this. We have a senator sponsor it, we need to look at these votes," and that his role could have done that. But of course, Mike Pence was a coward. Mike Pence sold out. Mike Pence decided to go ahead and play along with a globalist DC elite. And so they had to make this extra act in here to make sure that we strip that power away from the vice president. What Donald Trump said that Mike Pence could do, but he couldn't do what he could do, but now he can't do. See how they work. Absolutely. Anyway, the act also raises the threshold for members of Congress to object the electoral vote and make it harder for the state legislators or governors to ignore the popular vote when certifying electoral college votes. NBC report Raskin slammed the U.S. Constitution on Sunday, "Since I think that the Electoral College now, which has given us 5 popular vote losers as president twice in this century alone, has become a danger not to just democracy, but the American people," Raskin said. Raskin, who is a representative out of Maryland whose elitists said the U.S. president should be elected by the popular vote. Yeah. No. These people will go to all length to continue to consolidate power for themselves. They will do it by calling you a racist that fast says whatever Nazi whatever they want to call you, in order to keep you in your place because they want to steal your money. They want to steal the wealth of this nation. They want to continue to rich themselves while they continue to sell out this nation to the highest bidder, and they don't care about you, and made it obvious during this last omnibus bill that was passed that many Republicans could care less about their constituents, along with Democrat people who are all unit party, who all are on the take. Absolutely disgusting. Our nation is hanging by a thread, our U.S. Constitution obtained by threat, and these people continue to assault it with immediate cheering on with him. But God forbid if anybody says, hey, we need to maybe suspend a little piece of this so we can go ahead and fix some of these issues that we need to fix. Can't do that, because you got to actually just go ahead and dismantle it like the way Democrats do. Absolutely horrendous. And then, this is some big news. No method, Andrew Gillum. You're not getting off that easy. What a friggin' bullet was dodged in the 2018 election in the state of Florida between Andrew Gillum and Ron DeSantis. A race between the man who became America's governor and an actual corrupt drug-addicted criminal in Andrew Gillum. The stakes literally could not be higher. You know, when they say elections have consequences, this is what they mean, as we constantly see the clear consequences of electing corrupt career criminal Democrats. It's just unfortunate those consequences couldn't have been avoided when it comes to the presidential race. But this guy Andrew Gillum was really something else, and he's currently attempting to use his Democrat privilege to hopefully evade justice. If you guys aren't aware, but Andrew Gillum is currently facing charges of wire fraud, misuse of campaign funds, as well as federal conspiracy and other charges, and he's attempting to pull a little juicy small lead here. He tried to use his connections to wiggle out of it, and the judge just responded very firmly with no way Jose Andrew Gillum is going to court. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on here. Let's just talk about the bullet that was clearly dodged, and of course the implications moving forward as Florida continues to grow and be a bastion of freedom. Alright folks, take a look at this headline right over here. Federal judge refuses to dismiss criminal charges against 2018. Florida Democratic gubernatorial nominee. A federal judge has rejected a request from 2018. Florida Democrat Andrew Gillum, after lawyers for the accused claimed that he was selectively targeted. The former mayor of Tallahassee says he believes the only reason that he was prosecuted is that he's flag. Oh, holy moly. I swear it seems to be the only defense that we see these days. Left OID seem to have nothing else in their arsenal. As noted by the Associated Press earlier this year, Gillum and a colleague were indicted on federal conspiracy, wire fraud, and other charges that include lying to FBI agents. Federal prosecutors claim that Gillum funneled campaign conditions through third parties back to himself for his own personal use. According to prosecutors, Gillum met with undercover FBI agents posing as developers while he was mayor of Tallahassee during his campaign for governor, the AAP noted. His associate sought donations from agents and suggested ways to provide money without listing them as political contributions, including paying for a fundraiser dinner, according to the indictment. Gillum has pleaded not guilty to the charges, claiming they were politically motivated as he ran against then GOP gubernatorial nominee Ron DeSantis. Yes, of course, Andrew Gillum did nothing wrong. He just literally committed fraud and even got caught in the act, trying to involve undercover federal agents into his scheme while he was running for governor and explicitly explaining the scheme to them, telling them how they were essentially going to funnel money through his campaign. But of course, he didn't do anything wrong. No, of course not. The only reason he's being charged is because he's black. And if you don't believe that, well, then it's politically motivated because he's the Democrat who ran against Ron DeSantis. Absolutely ridiculous. But of course, last week, U.S. District Judge Alan Windsor called Gillum has claimed that his ethnicity led to his prosecution meritless. Gillum had asked that the charges be dismissed because prosecutors delayed filing them, and he was being prosecuted because of his race and politics. The judge, who was appointed by former President Donald Trump's, had Gillum had offered nothing to support the claim of selective prosecution because of his race or politics. The AP reported this is yet again another story of Democrat Mo not only in using the race card, but just the whole damn thing, the racial grift tied in with the political fundraising scam. It's basically a microcosm of the whole Black Lives Matter movement, doing activist donations or political donations as your own little personal piggy bank. Actually, there's a more recent and relevant example: the whole FTX us thing, the Sam Bankman-Fried story. All you got to do is be a Democrat, pretend that you're a champion of left-wing causes, and the money comes rolling in, and then you just stuffed it in your pocket and walk away, hopefully get elected so you can cover your tracks. But in this case, didn't exactly work. But it's the Democratic gift that almost always ends in scam. Give us money, insert left-wing cause here, but it's almost always a manipulative sociopath manipulating people's emotions, taking advantage of gullible individuals to enrich themselves. Andrew Gillum is not getting out of this one, especially not with a Trump-appointed judge in the state of Florida, place that actually enforces the law. There's no Kim Foxx prosecutor to give you a little slap on the wrist, you're done. And it really starts to make you question where's all the money going with all of these high-profile activist Democrats? Here's a story that's been bouncing around all week, which has me very curious as I'm thinking about Andrew Gillum's scoop. Stacey Abrams' campaign is in debt after blowout loss after race. More than $100 million in her second bid to be Georgia governor. The Stacey Abrams campaign owes more than $1 million in debt to vendors. Why it matters. Abrams has been heralded for her fundraising prowess and had brought in donations at a presidential level earlier in the year, but money became so tight that most of the 180 full-time staffers were given an abrupt paycheck cutoff date. Just a week after the November election. People have told me that they have no idea how they're going to pay their rent in January. One former staffer told Axios it was more than unfortunate, it was messed up. $100 million seemingly down the drain, except it's really $101 million. Stacey Abrams, this campaign is now $1 million in debt. Where's all this money going? Course, this is pure, wild speculation. But I think it's honest curiosity. You always have the same Democrat figures, high-profile individuals who claim to be the most left-wing, championing the most far-left of activist causes, who fundraise more than anyone else. And then the money just disappears, either. It's another typical Democrat scam, or Georgia voters dodged the 10 bullet just like Florida voters did in not electing Andrew Gillum. I mean, seriously, think about it. Imagine it. Imagine having such incredible fundraising prowess, fundraising $100 million, and going broke in a year in debt, $1 million in debt to vendors. Do you really want that person running your state budget? I don't think so. He asked me. It's very simple. Anytime a Democrat loses an election, it's a dodged bullet, and Ron DeSantis is the living proof of exactly that. As the beautiful great state of Florida is booming ever since he took over, not only has it become a Republican stronghold with Ron DeSantis winning last election by 20 points, but giant finance firms and tech firms are one by one moving to Miami. It's becoming the fastest growing metropolitan area in the country. And we're just getting the 2022 census data showing Florida was the fastest growing state this year with historic population gains. Florida's population increased by 1.9% to 22,244,823 residents between 2021 and 2022, surpassing Idaho, the previous year's fastest growing state. The Bureau said for the third most populous state to also be the fastest growing is notable because it requires significant population gains. Earlier this year, report found that more than 600,000 people fled New York and California for lower tax states during the pandemic. And on the flip side, we're also learning that 300,000 people moved out to California from 2021 to 2022. The most of any state. Proof is in the pudding, folks. Anytime a Democrat loses an election, a bullet is dodged. It's hard to say on the national electoral map what the implications are here, because it almost seems as though Republicans from all kinds of other states are just leaving and moving to Texas and Florida and other states like that. And it might be weakening the GOP in terms of the electoral college landscape or during midterm elections, as less Republicans exist in purple and blue states, and they're all just basically moving to a Republican strongholds. But at the end of the day, hopefully it's a shining beacon at the top of the hill, a roadmap for why you shouldn't elect people like Andrew Gillum and you should vote for common sense politicians like Ron DeSantis. Hopefully it has a positive impact. Thank you very much. WWG1WGA. Give me your thoughts below and hit subscribe. See you again.